Spacey Sims, and we're back with more Cupid Parasite, and just continuing where we left off in Jupiter's route, and now we're dating Peter slash Chi slash Jupiter. Because we shot him with a fucking arrow. Awesome. Anyway, so yeah. After Peter calmed down, I gently released my hold on him. Now then, since we have an early morning tomorrow, I'll go take a bath. Yes, all right. Then Peter tried following me. Wait. Hold on. Chi? Peter saying Chi. Chi what? We're not bathing together anymore. Chi? I love the fact that he was freaked out about it when he was Chi. Like, how embarrassing. I can't do this now. He's like, nah, it's cool. Peter looked astonished. It was as though he'd forgotten he was in his human form. Come on, men and women don't normally bathe together. Gil told me as much. I didn't know that. It seems like you're learning a lot about men and women here. Peter crossed his arms and nodded approvingly. So we're not taking a bath together. All right, I'm going. I left Peter there and headed to the bathroom alone. It was weird that so soon after learning them from Gil, I was now the teacher when it came to the rules between the sexes. I read that really weird, but... After we took a bath in order, we decided to sleep. Okay, good night. Yes, good night, Cupid. I want a CG of him cuddling us. For some reason, Peter tucked himself into my bed as a matter of habit. He lied down next to me and slept. He fell asleep so fast I had no time to stop him, just like Chi. He's hissing? Hiss, hiss. It's must be like Chi breathing. Was this how it worked? I don't think so. But Peter and I are both non-human. I guess we're not beholden to human rules. Plus, it was still Chi, just in human form. I cannot wait till she figures this out. Peter flipped over and hugged me. He's totally in love with me, all because he was shot by Cupid's arrow. But it's literally the first time I've ever fired Cupid's arrow at the wrong person. A divine beast, no less. I've been Cupid for hundreds of years, but this is my first time making such a mistake. So I don't know what to do in this situation. But he looks so happy, right? Peter told me he'd only known fraternal love. His newfound knowledge of love filled me with pride. But I should have asked him to revert to his Chi form. This bed's not big enough for us both. Snore. Chi. Peter was fast asleep with a dopey, lovesick face. I put a blanket over him and closed my eyes. The bed looks big enough for two people. Looks like at least a full size. It's tight, but you know. First kiss. New love? Interesting. We're in the underworld. I won't forgive you. I'm assuming we're Alan. After that, regardless of whether we were at our internship or not, spending time with Peter was enjoyable. Anytime, every day. That's actually sweet. Spacey, I did it! Spacey, let's go have lunch! At least he's not calling me Cupid at work. Good job. Proud of you, Peter. Spacey, I brought you some coffee. White mocha from Starbucks. Starbucks. Chi, or Peter, always managed to find an excuse to visit my desk. Doesn't he sit right next to you? He seems clingier than normal with you. Wait, are you two dating? Well, yes. I'm sorry. I told him not to come when I'm working. Did he get fired? That's fine. He's wrapped around your finger. Plus, it seems to help his job performance. I guess he doesn't work. But they made it seem like he worked like in the same desk as us, like right next to us, you know? Peter, can I talk to you? Oh, that's Bridal Advisor P, sorry. What is it? An emergency! No, a file just dropped. Well, He still freaks out whenever female staff members speak to him or if something drops. And that's the sensitive parasite for you. He can't talk with female employees aside from Miss Mirror. He'll join the Parasite 5 if he stays like that, which will then become the Parasite 6. Parasite 5? And that's what we call our troublesome members. And there are 5 members that no one's in charge of since our advisors don't know what to do. I remember when they gave Peter that nickname. Seems like it's a matter of time. But he's dating, so... The advisors then gave me the rundown on the Parasite 5 and all of their exploits. The Lovelorn Parasite, a member who just can't seem to get over a past love. This is fun. The Prestige Parasite, a member who's obsessed with maintaining a social status and has delegated a surrogate to help him find a partner. The Obsessed Parasite, a member who just can't help himself from talking about mythology, making basic conversation impossible. I'm sorry, but I like Raoul's obsession. It's adorable. Stop ragging on him. The Glamour Parasite, a member who judges people solely on their appearance and thus shuns anyone who's inferior in his eyes. The Thieving Parasite, a member who seems to prefer women already in relationships, thereby upsetting our client base on a regular basis. And Peter Flagg, a nervy jumpstart who can't seem to communicate with women. The Sensitive Parasite. Well, technically he's not one of them. The Parasite 5 only refers to the original group, but he fits right in, doesn't he? Except for he's not a client, he works here, and we're dating, so no. I see. I never knew there were such troublesome members. What kind of people are they? Will I have the chance to meet them? Since there are members... What, interested in Parasite 5? Oh, please no. I mean, yes, I am interested in them, but please don't bring them in and then be like, let's find them all up. Don't do that. Don't take my boyfriends away from me. Shh. Walk away, game. Yes, I'm curious what kind of matches they'd have. Looks like someone's itching to be an advisor. You're an expert at checking in new members, so you want a client of your own. Really? Yes, I'd love for you to, but none of the Parasite 5, okay? They might be a little too much to handle. Bitch! I successfully dated all of them. I mean, totally understand, uh-huh. Sure, Melissa. They're that troublesome. Oops! It's time for the seminar. I was absorbed in our conversation. Please get ready now. Oh, yes! Let's go, Peter! Yes, I'm already preparing. Peter showed up holding a file full of confidence. Great to see Peter getting used to working as an intern. It's wonderful. I was worried on the first day, but it seems like he's doing just fine. Yes, because now you understand that, well, you think he's an animal. You're like, he's a divine beast, that's why he doesn't understand things. Wait till you find out he's Jupiter, and then that's funnier. Peter, Chi, in other words, a divine beast posing as an intern. Well, a god posing as a divine beast posing as an intern. Gets more confusing. I should go. Lord Jupiter himself would be surprised, I thought to myself as we entered the suite. Anyway. When Peter and I entered the seminar room, there was Mr. Harriet, the president's secretary. Oh, Mr. Harriet! Hi. Good day. Oh, Owen. What are you doing here? We're here to help out with the marriage seminar. Oh, no, I'm not here to participate in the seminar. Really? You seem to have a notebook and a pen with you. Tactless. No, I'm not interested. Oh, speaking of which, were you able to ask that lady out on a date? What? What lady? The lady you spoke with at the matching party. Her name was Melanie, I think? I thought you two had great chemistry. Oh, we had great chemistry? Yes, plenty. I'm sure she'd say yes if you asked her out on a date. Oh, really? Did we look so... Mr. Harriet looked relieved and seemed to calm down. This makes me so sad but happy. Like, oh, and I'm happy for you. I'm sad because I love you. And the game is literally rubbing in my face that we can't have you. But, like, if you and Melanie are happy, that's all that really matters. Thank you. I appreciate the encouragement. I'll ask her out. Oh. Good luck. I'll be cheering for you. I will a little bit. while I mournfully sigh. But I know we had a lot of other men to add to the man harem. It's okay. But I'm sorry. Owen comes as a package deal with Shelby. That's it. Melanie can't have him in that route. We're a throuple. Whoops. I keep hitting that stupid fucking joystick. Anyway. Thanks. With that, Mr. Harriet happily departed the room. We saw him off, and I began preparing for the seminar with Peter. You checked their compatibility? Yep, but when I tried firing off the arrow, you appeared from out of nowhere. Oh, I see. That's how it happened. Yeah, I wasn't aiming for you. Speaking of which, I couldn't tell you at that time, but I thought Jupiter told you to never use Cupid's arrow. He looks so disappointed with us. Oh, he was right. Dad told me as much when I first came to the human realm. Can you keep it a secret from Lord Jupiter? Don't think so. No problem at all, but was that the only time you used it? That arrow. I once used the leaden arrow before that. There was a couple who were having a fierce fight, so... And the leaden arrow. Didn't your power decline? I must investigate this soon. Decline of power? What are you talking about? Never mind. That's not important right now. Aside from that, you should never use Cupid's arrow again. Huh? His face stiffened to my reaction. Does it have something to do with the human realm? I mean, I've used it just fine in Celestia. Oh, right. I was like, I wonder. Oh my god. It's for your sake. I get it. I wasn't thinking about it. It didn't dawn on me. I was like, is it because, like, he's worried? Because, like, Juno and all these other... No, it's because the more you use it, your tick-tock, your timeline's winding down. You know what I mean? In every other route, we just gave up our Cupid powers and became human right in the nick of time, and then in Alan's route, he stabbed us. So, Peter / Jupiter is like, don't use that, because the more you're gonna end up dead if you do it. But instead of telling us that, he's like, just don't do it. She's like, it'll be fine. And it will not be fine. It will not be fine. But anyway. His voice was stern. Please, promise me that you won't use it again. Since he seemed to be begging me, I was puzzled but nodded. I understand. I won't use it. Yeah, it's a promise. He touched my shoulder, then grabbed me close. When he let go, he then departed from the suite. Oh, Peter... He's gone. Come on, the seminar's supposed to start. He's acting as freely as he did his chi. But why the warning? I really can't use my arrow? For my sake? And what was that about my power declining? I don't know, but Peter, or Chi, is Lord Jupiter's divine beast. I'm sure he knows more about the DC than I do. I wish that he was clearer about the matter, but the graveness in his voice was enough to persuade me. Good. In any case, the seminar was soon to begin, so I quickly returned to my preparations. We are going to absolutely use our fucking power at some point again. He's gonna be like, God damn it! But it was a desperate situation. At last, the seminar began. To my kind audience, thank you for attending today's seminar. My name is Spacey Mirror, and I'll be your speaker. Microphone in hand, I began my speech, keeping in step with what I'd learned. There were members as far as I could see. I tried my best to keep my composure from stage fright. Today we have a special guest lecturer on romantic psychology, Miss Tyner. Please come on up. This woman who knows nothing. Hello, everyone. Leave the love lessons to me, Miss Tyner. I am so excited to be speaking for you all today. Remember, ladies, make sure he holds the door for you. Make sure he pays, otherwise he's a curmudgeon. I mean, like, I just feel like the shit she told us at one point, I'm like, what kind of backdated bullshit is it? Like, I just seemed like, are you sure you're a professional? I don't know. I don't think all of her advice was bad, but it just seemed questionable at points. Didn't it? Maybe it's just me. Miss Tyner is our resident romance expert who's published many self-help books on the subject. She'll be covering all sorts of topics, such as getting to know your crush through the lens of psychology. Oh, Miss Advisor, thanks for the great introduction. Miss Advisor? I had to suppress a grin from the sheer joy of hearing her call me that. I mean, I have a fucking name, but sure. After biting my tongue, I left the rest of the lecture to Miss Tainer and went to the back of the room. Some speculate that love consists of 3 primary elements: intimacy, passion, and commitment. But there's another theory, known as the theory of love, that divides the subject into 6 different models, as seen in this picture. Oh, I remember learning about this. Even as a host, I had much to glean from the lecture. It really takes me back. I remember Clarice referring to her love type as Ludus. Yes, the only love I've ever known is fraternal. Suddenly, what Peter said came back to me. Fraternal love is sort of congenial. He's one of Lord Jupiter's subjects, right? Are divine beasts allowed to fall in love? How sad, I thought, to be unaware of love or affection. All gods had a right to find love. Now, let's discuss our types. Oh, let's discover our types, shall we? Miss Advisor, would you mind handing out these sheets, please? Oh, yes. My thought bubble was popped and I returned to the task at hand. Quite the eventful first day as an advisor. When I returned to my desk, I found Peter in his chi form after having successfully dodged his responsibilities for the day. Don't we all wish we had a divine beast form so we could dodge our responsibilities for the day? Instead, we have to do it in our human form, which I would say makes us better at it. The next day, Peter and I both had the day off, so we scheduled a movie date based on a recommendation from one of the other advisors. Considering Peter's nature, a thriller probably wasn't the best idea, so we picked something other than Parasite. Oh my god, he would be screaming and cowering and he's just wearing a t-shirt. That's amazing. Really? Everybody else, their dressed down looks still are like pizzazzy, and here's just in a t-shirt. I just expected so much more from you. Anyway. Wow, so this is a movie theater. Wait, didn't you come with me to one in your chi form? No, never. Unfamiliar places frighten me. I was hiding under the bed. I love him. Yeah, I guess. I remember Chi wasn't with me when I went to the movie theater with Gil and Clarice. I mean, I get him. Unfamiliar places frighten me. Yeah, no, okay. Then you'll be surprised. Movies are so wonderful. They take place in many different worlds and... Oh, how about we have some popcorn? Which flavor do you want? They have different flavors of popcorn. Isn't it just like butter? Not butter? When I looked up at Peter, pointing my finger at the signboard of the stand... When I looked up at Peter, pointing my finger at the signboard of the stand, looked puzzled. When I looked up at Peter, pointing my finger at the signboard of the stand, looked puzzled. I mean, I get what they're saying. I look over at Peter as I'm pointing to the signboard, and he looks puzzled, but like, what the fuck, Tim? Popcorn as in those pebbles you brought home back when you had those so-called part-time jobs? I found it odd how delicious those pebbles were. Perhaps humans are stronger chewers than gods. I couldn't help but laugh at how seriously he took everything. It was refreshing to see someone just as clueless about the human realm as me. You're like, you're supposed to pop them. That's the corn before it's popped. Maybe this is how Gil and Clarice saw me when we first met. They aren't pebbles. They're roasted corn kernels. They're addicting, I swear. You also have to pop them, Chi. Since there's so many options, would you mind if I went ahead and chose? Please, by all means. I showed Peter where to line up and make his purchase. With our popcorn and sodas in hand, we made our way to our seats. Be fun if you had different types of pop. I mean, you have like caramel corn and like chocolate covered popcorn and then like butter. But when you go to the movie theater, it's usually butter popcorn with the overly buttered, too much. You know what I mean? I like popcorn, but I get like just like lightly salted plain popcorn. You know what I mean? Like I don't want overly buttered popcorn. I don't know what it is. There's something. It's not that movie popcorn tastes bad. It's the smell of it. You're just like, oh, it just smells like I'm going to die. I can smell my arteries clogging. Like, I don't know what it is. Or like, especially the staleness of it. It's just no. But like, if you eat it, it doesn't taste bad. But I'm also just like, no, I can just feel my arteries clogging thinking about it because I'm old. So just like lightly salted kind of popcorn. Or like plain popcorn. I'm old. When you were a kid, you're like, I want all the butter. And as an old person, you're like, no, plain Cheerios are fine. What happens when you get old? Like, seriously, when you were a kid, Lucky Charms, right? Like, you were like, why are there just so many of the oat bits? I want all marshmallows. And then you get old and you're like, did they just triple the amount of marshmallows? Why the fuck is this nothing but marshmallows? Where's the oats cereal in this? You know what? Fuck it. I'm just getting Cheerios. Like, maybe the Honey Nut Cheerios. But even the plain ones, the regular, basic, boring Cheerios you feed to babies, you're like, no, this is fine. Where's my shredded wheat? Like, seriously, but as a kid, all I wanted was Lucky Charms. You just wanted just the marshmallow. And as an adult, I think I'm gonna vomit just about it. Like, get on my... What happened? Why? I mean, you should be like, oh, I'm a refined palate now. I actually enjoy carrots. But like, what the fuck? Do you want the sugary cereal or no? I'll just have some carrots. What is wrong? Why did why happen? God, it's just weird. It's just super weird. Because I don't know if they actually added more marshmallows to Lucky on that. I just remember it was a long time ago. But you'd be like, I remember as a kid being like, oh, there's like marshmallows in a bowl, and now you're like, oh, marshmallows, I'm gonna die diabetes. Like, it could be the exact same amount of marshmallows as there was back in the day, and yet as an old person, you're like, too many marshmallows. I don't understand why. Nature, why? You know why? It's like, because you're going to eat that one marshmallow and you're going to gain 45 pounds and get a heart condition. And you're going to get diabetes just from that one marshmallow. But as a kid, you could eat like 16 boxes and you were fine. Like, that's not fair. Stop it. Anyway. But it wasn't long before Peter started fidgeting in his seat. He kept darting his eyes around the theater, stuffing handfuls of popcorn in his mouth. Dodgy bastard. This popcorn stuff is great. Doesn't taste like Pebbles at all. Glad to hear it. And that's the honey flavor. Sweet and savory, right? Want some soda? Honey flavor. Okay, where in the world does Japan have weird flavored popcorn? I want to go now. I want these weird flavored popcorn. Like, instead of like butter, extra butter, death by butter, or cardboard. That's what we get. It's salted, it's fine. But like, you know what I mean? It's like, what level of death by butter do you want? Or do you want the taste like you're licking cardboard flavor? Pick one. That's all you get. I want honey flavor. I want. The fuck? Anyway. Whoa! Amazing. Human food is a wonder of its own. I love him. He's so innocent. I can't believe Munch. How evolved Munch they are. I feel like I should have popcorn and so for the sound effects, but Peter stuffed his cheeks with popcorn like a chipmunk. That's adorable. Come on, you don't have to eat them all at once. The movie's starting. The theater's lights dimmed and a logo appeared on screen. At first, Peter's eyes widened with excitement, but as it turns out, this was a romance film, an intense one at that. Oh, Michael! Yes! Yes! I was just anticipating when she said an intense one that he was going to be like, that! We should do that! And how are you explaining? No. Oh, they're really going for it. Mm-hmm. The couple in the movie kissed so passionately that watching it with someone else was awkward. Every time I ever watched a sex scene in a movie, no matter how old you were, when you were watching it with your parents, awkward. Peter's like, oh, look at him blushing. Look at his little spray blushing. So cute. I glanced over at Peter, noticing he was frozen and blushing. I chose this movie because it was trending, but I suspected I'd made a mistake. Maybe Parasite would have been better. Oh, sure. give him trauma. But then I ran the risk of sending the sensitive parasite running from the theater. A comedy would have been good. You know. Let's see, do we watch horror or porn? Maybe comedy? I don't know. It was an option. We both shifted uncomfortably in our seats together, careful to avoid making eye contact. It felt like the longest movie I had ever watched. I do love the awkwardness of this, though. She's like, oh, fuck. And he's like, oh. Gee. She is, gee. But then you have Peter, gee. After the movie ended, we took a stroll to Lost York Park. You okay, Peter? I just find it funny that even in human form, he still says gee. Anyway, oh, yeah, well, kind of. Yes, I'm fine. And that movie was certainly different from what I expected. I love the fact that he is still blushing. Oh, no, not all movies are like that. I think I should have read the reviews first, or the preview. At this rate, Peter would never watch another movie with me again. Well, no, he'll watch another one, and then you show him Parasite, and then he'll be done. Say, why don't we rent one next time? I know the perfect one. One that's totally different from what we watched today. Really? Sounds great. Truly. I'll take your word for it. The two of us stopped by a video store and rented a slew of comedy movies to bring home. But after the first one finished, Peter suddenly took me into his arms. He's still a little blushy. He seemed to take in my scent and let out a heavy sigh. Hey, something wrong? I tore my attention away from the end credits and looked into Peter's eyes. He was blushing and slowly shook his head. I don't know why. I feel so compelled to hold you all of a sudden. Your scent comforts me. Could it have something to do with the movie we watched? Maybe your scent just comforts the man / divine beast / God. I'm just saying. It wasn't just a comedy, but a romantic comedy. A roller coaster of a musical. Since the story was focused on a couple in love, was he feeling sentimental? Come on! I can't breathe if you hold me that tightly. I patted his back lightly. Peter then lifted his head and stroked my cheek. Hey, Cupid. I turned my head at him, referring to me by my real name. After a bit of mumbling, he inhaled deeply and spoke. Can I kiss you? What? Kiss? Is that what couples do? Is that what you want, Peter? Of course. More than anything, if I'm being honest. But if you're not comfortable with that. There was a hint of a struggle in his voice, as if he'd been dying to ask me all night. I do like the fact, though, in this route, it's not like, oh, I've been in the human realm, I know this shit. She's like, yeah, so I know what a fax machine is, and not to stuff my pencil into a shredder and destroy, it was a chopstick, whatever. And I know not to scream and fling the phone every time it rings. But do couples kiss? I don't know. And they're both kind of bumbling idiots. With the romance stuff, it's kind of funny. I kind of find this adorably adorable. It's adorable. I like it. But I could relate, so I nodded with a smile. Sure thing. Right. I knew you'd... Wait, what? But Cupid, it's... I'm curious to do it myself. All those couples in the movies seem so natural at it. Plus, isn't it weird for Cupid not to know what kissing's like? I like how she's going about this so logically. As far as first kisses went, I could do a lot worse than Peter. I'm not sure if that's a compliment. He wouldn't go out of his way to hurt me, and he's from Celestia, too. So... I like how he's like, can I kiss you? Yeah, sure. And he's like, I knew you'd say no. Wait, what? You said, yeah, I was expecting you to say no, so I don't know what to do. Peter timidly placed his hands on my shoulders. This is going to be adorably awkward. The great Lord God Jupiter doesn't know how to kiss someone. Oh, this just hits you right in the feels. The adorkable feels. As we locked lips, moving slowly at first with tiny pecks. Oh, and, sorry, I'm not moaning. Oh, our lips just barely touched, but something changed in that moment. The soft tenderness of his lips made my heart race. So this was a kiss. The universal gesture for love. Spacey, can we do it again? He almost seemed delirious. Suddenly, Peter tightened his grip around my shoulders. I mean, you're not giving me a chance to say no right now. He started to lean in closer, causing me to lose balance and fall back onto the sofa. Oh, CG now? This would be... Oh! But okay, we just get the back of his head, though. What kind of a CG is this, game? That's rude. This is a Jupiter CG, but this is what... I'm disappointed. It's our kiss CG, but we don't even get to see the man. So disappointed in you right now, game. Anyway, Spacey... Oh, he didn't wait for my answer this time. Peter sweetly pressed his lips harder against mine, and my body went numb. It took hold of me like an intoxication. Peter kissed with a fervor, nearly devouring my lips out of desperation. I'm not moaning, but I can... moaning and sighing. You can't really do the sigh without the moan, so just moaning and sighing. Okay. He changed the angle by tilting his head and grabbed my wrist. Now he was pressing into me. I could hardly move. It was like a lion who had conquered its prey. I mean, okay. It occurred to me that Chi often behaved like a carnivore with fangs and horns to boot. Spacey, moaning. Ming. Oh. Peter didn't seem to let his lack of technique stop him from expressing the fullness of his desire. How do you know he has lack of technique? You've never been kissed before. You wouldn't know if he was good at it or not. His eyes burned with a delicate flame. Because you can't see that the other one is... Although you wouldn't know if you noticed he had heterochromia that Jupiter did, because Jupiter always wears the mask and covers the one eye, so I'm just saying. I soon found myself intimidated by the way his cheeks filled feverishly with color. Something wasn't right. Hey, Peter, calm down. I've never been calmer. He whispered with panted breaths, then touched my throat with the tip of his tongue. Oh. I said kiss! We are not doing what they did in that movie yet. Or maybe we are. His fang-like teeth were pressed against my neck, like he was ready to bite. I mean, I'm okay with that. I turned my neck and Peter bit into me. I mean, not like a vampire, but like nips, that's fine. Not hard enough to break the skin, more of a playful nibble. I mean, hi. I'm okay. That tickles. What's gotten into me? But his confusion didn't deter his impulses. He dug his nails into my shoulders, seemingly overwhelmed by the occasion. What should I do? Me? But don't make me read it. I saw in Peter's eyes the same kind of eagerness that would befit a starving predator. I'd never seen that look before. He was clearly aroused, but unable to locate how or why he felt this way. His gaze was sharp as our passionate kiss intensified. If we kept going, I feared it'd open a door in my heart that couldn't be closed again. This isn't good. I can't go that way. I won't come back. No, please. I finally pushed against his chest and he backed away as if he regained his senses. I'm sorry. I got carried away. Peter hurriedly got to his feet. As he fixed his eyes on my own, I saw the mixture of derangement and pleasure give way to bewilderment. Forgive me. It's my first time kissing someone, and I couldn't help myself. It's kind of adorable coming from Jupiter and everybody acts like he's a whore. Oh, sweetie. Well, he's a divine beast after all. Divine beasts are made to work for gods. Peter's probably never had a proper conversation with people. Of course, I thought, suddenly I was curious about his real age. Speaking of which, Peter, Chi, you've been with Lord Jupiter a while, haven't you? All my life. Well, yes. I like how he's just avoiding. Before might not have been a good time, but now he's like, just not gonna tell you. It'll be fine. Then are you aware of his history of love affairs? What? His history of love affairs? There are many myths surrounding Lord Jupiter, like how he turned into a swan to sneak into a woman's room or when he appeared as rain. Those are just misconceptions! Oh, really? Why would the Lord God be so risque? He wouldn't do such a thing. First of all, I'm no good with women. I'm not talking about you, Peter. I'm talking about Lord Jupiter. I know, but Lord God Jupiter isn't any good with women either. I don't know why I love this characterization so much, because you just remember in the very beginning when he's just standing there looking all sexy and mysterious, like, yes, disappears, and you're like, he's so mysterious and angry, and we've got to watch out, and he's over there like, loud noises scare me, and she was standing there, and she was a whoop, she had boobs, and it scares me. I don't know. Oh my god, what was that? Like, oh, this amuses me too much. Oh god, this is one of the funniest fucking things. I don't know. I don't know why this amuses me so much, but it doesn't. I love it. Good job. I mean, like, I thought it was cute with Alan, like, oh no, I just feed off people in their dreams. I don't actually have sex with anyone. You're the first. Whatever. And you're like, wow, you flirt like a whore, but you've never that's kind of cute. Okay, yeah. I like the way you did that. You made him seem like, oh, he's a man slut, but like never touched anyone before. Oh. And then like, but then Jupiter is just a whole other level of like awkwardly wholesome that you're just like, how is it? He's just actually scared of women. It's funny. I don't know. It's so charmingly funny. Oh god. Oh, good lord. You know, I think it's refreshing because there's either in the game, they're like gills with like, oh, I'm awkward. I'll do anything for you. Oh my god. I've never even looked at another woman. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna need you to simmer down. Or they're whores. Kind of like Raoul, but he was like still a wholesome little whore, wasn't he? But like, they're usually like, you know, Alan with the flirty and, oh yeah, whatever. But they fucked everything that moves. And then they're like, oh, you shouldn't be near a man like me. Whatever, you know. And you're like, seriously? You gotta have the awkward nerd who's never touched a girl, or like the whore who's kind of a douchebag. Like, there's really no, like, that's basically what you get, right? And you just like how this game is like, nah, fuck all that shit. The awkward nerd is still the awkward nerd who's obsessed with you. But then you have the adorable, wholesome whore, and then the hoary one that you think is like the man's is actually like, no, I've actually never touched anyone. And then you have the Lord Jupiter, who's supposed to be like the god of all gods, and he's like, loud noises and women scare me, okay? I don't like going strange places, and if you could stop looking at me, ma'am, I'd appreciate it before I have to smite you. Like, what? What the fuck? He's like capable, but also incompetent. I don't know. You're like juggling too much weird, and I love it. I don't know. Anyway, oh god. Anyway, what? Really? Perhaps divine beasts are more and more similar to their gods. I never would have guessed for Lord Jupiter to have problems speaking to women. From what I gathered, he was steadfast and fearless in all matters, except for everything. Steadfast maybe, but fearless? God, no. Fearful. I guess I can see Lord Jupiter being above such rumors. It surprised me to read those things in the first place. It did? Yeah, I've never spoken with him myself, but he comes off to me as a pretty strict, serious god. Oh no, he's a coward. But tales I've read in mythology classes about Lord Jupiter almost always concerned women. It didn't add up. But the myths surrounding Cupid never seem to match up with how I am or what I do either. Maybe all myths are made up. Oh, about that. Never mind. Well, not all of them are made up. Some are true. Really? Which ones? I curiously stared back at Peter to await his answer, but he paused with a blush. We kissed, but it didn't seem to affect you. It seems I'm just a divine beast to you. What? You want to know about the story behind those myths, right? Like when Lord Jupiter and the rest of the DC were born? When they were born? I forget. How did it go? I sensed that Peter was hesitant to answer, so I waited as he pieced together a response. Most of the gods were offspring of Cronus and his wife, Rhea. Although they're related, they couldn't have been more different. Fearing a prophecy that his children would someday kill him, Cronus swallowed all of his newborns. Jupiter was the only one to escape this fate. His mother, Rhea, tricked Cronus into swallowing a stone instead to protect her child. Then Jupiter was hidden away somewhere in the human realm, left to be raised by nymphs. Once he matured, he set out to save his siblings. He was raised by nymphs, which is probably why, because people associate nymphs as being like, oh, little hoes. So they were like, he was raised by slutty little nymphs, so he's obviously like a slutty little nymph himself. But, I'm just saying there's more depths to nymphs, obviously. Maybe, I don't know. Your story matches up with the myth humans tell. Right, Jupiter was reminded each day by the nymphs that, were he to be discovered, Cronus would eat him. From this, he developed a shrewd sense for danger, although he's the Lord God. That's why he's scared all the time. That's kind of adorable. Peter, for a divine beast, you seem to know a lot about Lord Jupiter. Is it possible you were with him from the start? He was like, you were with him from the start? With him, yes, not him. Right. Oh, yes. I've been with him a long, long time. Longer than anybody, I presume. I mean, not an unfair assessment. Kind of the truth. Wow, so you're much older than I am. Were you in the Trojan War? Dad's told me plenty of those stories. I leaned in closer, but Peter withdrew shyly and averted his gaze. Don't come so close to me. I can't restrain myself. What? I don't want to be the Jupiter they talk about in those myths. You're like, but you're not Jupiter. I love how she's not clued in when he's like, what? I don't know how to talk to women. And she's like, I was talking about Jupiter. Yeah, that too. And now he's like, I don't want to be the Jupiter they talk about in the myths. And she's like, yeah, but you're not Jupiter. Like, girl, could you put the pieces together and be like, wait, what? Like, be the Jupiter as in the one who's eager to find love? His cheeks reddened so quickly that I could practically hear the blood filling them. Suddenly, Peter transformed into Chi. Chi! 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 I like Chi. Chi started chirping fiercely as if to dissuade me from pressing him further. Unfortunately, that was only conjecture since I couldn't understand a word of it. You're like, you can't just turn into a divine beast and Chi at me when you don't want to have a conversation, Peter. Sorry. Hey, why don't we finish the rest of our movies? You want to learn more about the human realm, right, Chi? Chi? Chi sulked as he nodded. I stood up to pour myself another cup of tea and inserted the DVD. As the second movie we rented began to play out, Chi curled up into a ball the moment another kissing scene appeared on screen. It's kind of weird, though. We were just making out with you in your human form, and this is awkward. It's kind of funny, and you're just walking. I was like, oh, is that your pet? It's my husband. He gets like this when he's scared. I love it. It's so weird. Later that night. After she went to bed, I returned to my form as Peter and watched her intently as she slept. Not a little awkward, but okay. Snore. What have I done? Something about the way that kiss unfolded makes it hard to think about sleeping in the same bed with her. And part of me is floating, but another part of me has succumbed to melancholy. I became acquainted with a feeling that I had yet to see for myself as both a man and a god. This much is true. So this is love. I can't believe it took getting shot by Cupid's bow to see it. I was fated as Jupiter to only know one other kind of love. For ages I've longed to know. But the idea always scared me. Yeah, everything scares you, sweetie, so not a shock. I've seen Apollo shot by the golden arrow, and likewise Daphne by the leaden arrow. I've also seen Cupid prick their own finger with the golden arrow and fall in love with Psyche with my own eyes. The power of Cupid's bow both awed and terrified me. Everything terrifies you! I found myself vexed by this newly awakened love. But at the same time, I yearned to cling to this unfamiliar joy before it left me. Spacey. I whispered her name and held her hand as she slept. She was completely vulnerable. The peace I could see in her slumber made my chest tighten. Guilt came flooding in. Was I allowed my desire to kiss her just because I'm falling for her? She doesn't know what love is either, but she didn't exactly tell me to stop. I mean, she did, and then you did. She said no, and then you stopped. So I had to remind myself that she was also foreign to the ways of human love, so perhaps Cupid herself struggled just as I did. But there were 6 types of love still to learn. But I stole her lips before all of that. I hope I didn't disrupt her mission. But how am I supposed to contain my desire? Because I've fallen in love. I grazed her cheek with my fingertip ever so softly, and the precious sensation sent an aching chill throughout my body. I must protect her at all costs and stop any threat that would make her disappear. And to do this, I must break Juno's seal before she returns to Celestia, and I must quickly find the 6 types of love. But they're near. I can feel it. 3 of them are here already. Now to find the other 3. Wait. So you're gonna try to find all of our boyfriends? This is weird. Do we get a man harem in this one? Cupid, the most talented advisor. The next morning, we got on the subway to head to work without saying a word to each other. Peter had been acting awkward since breakfast, and I wasn't sure how to start a conversation. We kept glancing at each other, then glancing away. Normally we'd have casual small talk, but there was none of that today. I had a pretty good idea of why that was. It was probably because of yesterday's kiss. The CG that doesn't give us anything! Rude! I didn't think too much of it while it was happening. I just thought it was something fun, but things cooled off after that, and now that Peter was acting so awkward today, I was feeling kind of restless myself. And we didn't sleep in the same bed last night either. I was surprised when I woke up and saw him sleeping on the couch, and when I told him he could catch a cold... It's fine. We have that spare room, right? I'll start sleeping in there. I'll go buy a bed today after work. He actually said that to me. He didn't seem to ever mind sleeping in the same bed before. Clearly everything had changed after our kiss. Sitting next to him, I was suddenly aware of our height difference, something I'd never cared about before. I looked at his hands. Just then, the train shook a little bit and our shoulders lightly touched. But that was enough to make Peter whip his head toward me as if he'd gotten an electric shock. Sorry about that. It's fine. Peter was the one shot with the golden arrow, not me. And yet it almost felt like I was feeling its effects too. My heart was beating so hard and fast, I was worried the other people on the train might notice it. Without saying another word, we headed into the office. I like that she's like, after he kissed me, I kind of fell in love. Cute. Tee-hee. Phew. As I got to my desk, I suddenly felt exhausted. Dating really is pretty tough, huh? God, yeah. But it's just one of those types of things you can only experience down in the human realm, I guess. It's just one of those things. Why did I say type? I don't know. The happiness of love and the pain. I've always wanted to experience all sides of it. But I never realized just how embarrassing the whole experience could be, though. Okay, so to start off with, I'd like you to get in touch with this client. And then, hey, are you okay? You look pretty tired. Huh? Oh, no, I'm fine. Leave it to me. I'll take care of everything. Finally, my very first client as a bridal advisor. I took the file with both hands and began reading up on the client I'd be in charge of. I was ready to combine the love psychology I'd learned in college and my own natural instinct as Cupid. I'm definitely going to lead my client into a happy marriage. Without using my Cupid's bow, of course. Not only because Lord Jupiter banned it, but it would feel like cheating even if I could. But gods are supposed to want to use their divine artifacts, right? Weird. I guess I'm starting to think more like a human every day. Would Lord Jupiter be happy about that? The whole reason I'm here is to learn about the daily lives of humans, right? I have to assume that includes how they think, too. And Jupiter was like, send her to the human realm to learn about humans and tell her she can't use her divine artifact and that'll buy us time so she doesn't die. Cool. I thought about what Lord Jupiter might be up to back in Celestia at that moment, then got to work. He's sitting at his desk with his head in his hands like, ah! Anyway. Phew. And there I was, Peter Flagg, walking down the street mindlessly. And they asked me to buy 4 lattes from Starbucks. And these humans are total slave drivers. Why can't they just drink the coffee in the break room? Of course, it's because of people like them that human cuisine has come so far, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much. Anyway, I haven't been able to look her straight in the eye ever since yesterday's kiss. It looked like it was bothering her, so I'd like things to go back to normal as fast as possible, but I know I'll want more, so I have to be careful. If I look her in the face again, I'll want to kiss her for sure. Get it together, Jupiter! Your job is to look after her no matter what. I need to focus on getting her ready to take over as Juno. That's my one and only duty. I was about to find 5 humans who each have one type of love. I've guided them to her, but I was able to, I really hope it all works out. And after she shot the leaden arrow, it seems like her power has actually increased, if anything. And the golden arrow steals her life force, but I guess the leaden arrow boosts it. Surprised I never realized that before. Interesting. Every Cupid's lifespan is a little bit different. Thought maybe it was just coincidence, but... And this means that if she keeps on shooting leaden arrows, she'll just live longer and longer. But I can't have her going around breaking couples up just to give her more time. So what should I do instead? Not use her power. What you were doing, right? I thought about that as I turned the corner. Suddenly, I nearly froze in panic as I came face to face with a demon. I couldn't believe I didn't recognize him before. I've been thinking about her so much, maybe it's affecting my danger sense. Yeah! I can't die here! I still have so much to live for! I spun around to prepare to escape, but he grabbed my shoulder and suddenly I couldn't move.
Hey, just a second. I'm not the type to steal away the soul of a mere divine beast.
And he's like, what? I like that Alan doesn't even recognize a god when he sees one. Anyway, divine beast.
Yeah, you're her divine beast, right? I mean, you give off the same vibe as her, so...
Oh, yeah, I sure am, but I guess he can't tell that I'm actually Jupiter. Well, that's good at least.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you something. You recently showed her how you feel, right? So, do you really love her?
His eyes were cold and suspicious, but I managed to give him a confident nod. Yes, I really do love her. I love her so much I'd die for her. Is that going to be a problem?
No, if that's how you really feel, there's no problem at all. I was hoping she'd date a human, but oh well.
With that, he turned to leave. Now it was my turn to stop him. Wait, I have something to ask you too. Ellen Melville, you're the angel that was paired with her, aren't you? When he heard that, he stared hard into my eyes.
How did you...
I've been alive much longer than she has. I may not be that powerful, but I do know that much. Anyway, if I'm right about you, I just wanted to ask, do you really care about her?
Yes, I care about her more than anything in the world. More than I can put into words. Which is why I can never forgive Jupiter.
Although his voice had dropped to a near whisper, it seemed to reverberate with a cold echo. The disdain and hatred he had for me was obvious. His voice alone was enough to strike fear into my soul. Why do you hate him so much?
And they're going to use her up until she disappears. But I'm not going to let them. I'll keep her safe no matter what.
This is where you're like, that's what I'm trying to stop, by the way.
I can't forgive them for turning angels into gods, and then ordering them around until they disappear, without ever revealing the truth.
Well, as a divine beast, I completely understand how you feel. But then, What should they do? It was a question I'd held inside me for a long time, and now here I was voicing it to an actual demon. Gods require offerings and sacrifices. And that wasn't exactly true, but the way we used the angels of Elysium to turn into gods certainly gave that impression. And there can never be peace without sacrifice. Not that I feel great about using that as a justification. But there's no way to make gods, angels, humans, and demons all happy. People call me the almighty god of gods, but so often I feel completely useless. Yeah, because you kind of have been. I feel you kind of are. I'm just saying. No, sweetie, I love you, but like... I don't want the angels to disappear either. And neither does Lord Jupiter. But we can't protect humankind otherwise. Marriages have been declining since Juno hasn't been doing her job, and Cupid's down here studying. To be honest, I'm not sure gods need to exist either. I just want to be clear about that. But I'll do whatever I can to keep her from disappearing. I want to keep your angel partner safe. Will you help me do that?
Help you?
And the main reason I came down from Celestia is to look after her. That's what Lord Jupiter wants me to do. Maybe it's not clear, but he has no desire or intention for her to disappear. In fact, it's the complete opposite. If she can live in the human realm, learn what human life is like, and understand all the types of love, she'll become Juno.
What? Become Juno? Is that even possible?
He's the god of gods, right? So he'll make it happen. After hearing that, do you still hate him so much?
Maybe still.
After listening to what I had to say, he just stood there in silence. He still looked pretty suspicious. So I went on. Also, he wanted her to come down here to study because it seems like someone's after her.
After her?
Actually, someone was able to make the last Cupid disappear too. I've been keeping an eye on her ever since. Minerva. It seems like whoever it is can't get their hands on her directly, but there are traces of them prowling around her. I have someone looking into it, but we haven't managed to figure out who it might be yet. In Celestia, making a god disappear isn't exactly considered a crime, so it's hard to get them to take it seriously.
What? A god disappeared. You have no idea who did it. And even if you caught them, they wouldn't be guilty of anything.
Alan's like,
this is total bullshit.
There's no such thing as guilty when it comes to the gods. No matter their cruelty, Lord Jupiter can't punish them. After all, nothing they do can ever be considered bad. Well, that's a big-ass fucking loophole, isn't it? Whatever the DC do is the will of heaven. And even for lower gods, nobody's in a position to accuse them of anything. And not even the almighty Lord Jupiter.
And that's exactly why I hate the gods. They disrespect the angels with no fear of retribution. So I will...
Alan, listen! Lord Jupiter wants to change how things work, honestly. He didn't want to separate you two, but Mercury is the messenger of the gods, and his choice outweighed even Lord Jupiter. No matter how much he wanted to leave those two angels alone, he just couldn't. I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing?
Because he's not here to apologize for himself? Well, because... And the truth is, I'm his divine beast.
What? You mean you're not her divine beast?
Right, but please don't view me as the enemy. I want to protect her, and I want to punish whoever made the last Cupid disappear. So, Alan, can we work together to keep her from disappearing and to uncover our mutual enemy? Alan's working with your enemy. I put out my hand, and Alan was suddenly flustered.
You're really willing to work with a demon, even as Jupiter's own divine beast. Won't he be angry with you?
Nah, man. I know where he hides all of his... I got blackmail on him, and I just give him cookies. It's fine. And there's no rule that says we can't work with demons. Like I said, gods don't really face punishment in Celestia. Yet. Yet! I held his gaze, silently demanding an answer.
And you expect me just to believe everything you've said?
I swear on Cupid's life, I don't want my love to disappear either.
I haven't been able to do anything on my own anyway. I may as well team up with this divine beast. His love does seem genuine. Fine, let's team up. It sounds like I should direct my hatred toward Mercury anyway, since he's the one who chose Cupid.
Gee, I'd rather you not hate any gods, but I guess that's too much to ask. You're a fallen angel, after all. So, do you know of anyone who might have wanted to make the previous Cupid disappear?
Oh, I know exactly who it is.
He didn't say that yet, but... And that's basically why we had to choose a new Cupid in the first place. And that's the god that separated the two of you in a way. It seems this god found out he couldn't obtain Cupid's bow and gain access to a tome called the Divine Artifact Apocalypse. And with those pages, the god found a way to steal Cupid's bow. Has anyone ever mentioned anything like that to you? Alan was completely silent and had a severe look on his face. He thought for a moment, then spoke. Speak carefully, Alan. We know you know.
I know this god's face, but not her name. She'd never speak her name to a demon like me.
What does she look like?
She's like crazy and wears like weird hats.
Oh!
But I know that she wears gloves. She said they hide the burns she got when she grabbed Cupid's bow.
Gloves. Thinking about it, I'd never seen Venus wear gloves. Nor Mars, Mercury, or Ceres. But I did recall seeing one particular goddess wearing gloves. The goddess of war and wisdom, Minerva. It has to be her. You'd be like, does she also wear a bikini top and weird hats?
Yeah, that's the one.
It can't be. If that's the god I'm after, things are worse than I thought. True to her title, Minerva is extremely intelligent, and she's well-versed in all kinds of technology and trickery. She snuck her way into the human realm time and time again. A normal goddess capable of cloaking the presence of a divine artifact. She's not quite as strong as Mars, but I can't count how many times she's personally fooled me with her cunning nature. She could easily have come up with a way to get a hold of the divine artifact apocalypse. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. I kind of like the fact that Minerva's, foiled him so many times. Go, girl! But also, don't hurt my boyfriend. Look, he's a little too stupid for his own good, but, he's like, I'm smart! He's like, she is smarter than me! Far more capable. I kind of like it. I understand. Thank you for that information. I'm gonna save her life from this goddess. I swear it.
If you can, please do. Keeping her from disappearing is my only desire. Even if I have to kill a god, I'll do it.
Look how psycho Alan looks. I love it. I know we're over time, but... His face was full of grim determination. It was immediately obvious that he meant what he said. They really did love each other that much. And there's no way he'd do anything to harm her. And I was totally convinced that I could trust him. And then I have one more thing to ask you. Has there been any kind of disturbance in hell lately?
A disturbance? Well, I have felt something weird lately. Satan said a bad wind is blowing.
Something weird?
It's like Satan, but different. The lesser demons have been acting up for almost 20 years. There's something about a missing friend.
Almost 20 years. And that would have been around the time Juno went missing. If a god went to hell, Satan won't let that slide. I don't want to believe it. It's very disquieting. On a similar topic, I haven't talked to Lord Pluto in quite some time. Do we get to see Pluto? No, you can't give him a sprite because he's going to be hot. Okay. Hades is always hot in anime, so you can't, no. Okay, I'm literally just thinking of Kamigami no Asabi, okay? Because, Hades is beautiful, so, you can't, I don't know. And the underworld is directly above hell. But actually, the border between the two worlds disappeared several years ago. I remember receiving an oddly unconcerned letter pointing out that the two worlds were pretty similar to begin with. Hell, huh? I guess I'll have to investigate further at some point, but... why don't you ask Alan to do that? He'd be safer there. To be honest, the idea of going down there terrifies me. Demons don't have a lot of love for gods to begin with, and I've personally made quite a few of them disappear myself. If anyone down there found out I'm Jupiter, they'd chop me into pieces. Maybe I should ask Alan to look into it for me. Smart idea, scaredy cat! Also, I'm not calling you... Scaredy cat is an affectionate term right now, but this is a smart idea. Don't do it yourself. Anyway, there's definitely something going on in both Celestia and in Hell. We should start sharing information. Meanwhile, I'll stay close to her and keep her safe. Is that okay with you?
Yes, of course. I can't think of anyone better to keep an eye on her than a divine beast from Celestia.
Alan's face suddenly became soft and kind. Maybe he was thinking about her. And those two really are a pair. He cares about her both like close family and like a lover. This is weird. You're pairing up with our other boyfriend. I recall the pain I felt when I pulled them apart and etched that sin into my heart. No, it's kind of sad because he's like, I'm going to take her away from you, though. Just saying. But anyway, we're over time, so I'm going to stop this part here and we'll continue in the next part. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.